Welcome everybody to Cinema Royale. I am Travis Thompson coming to you on Independence Day, 4th of July. I got my Stars and Stripes shirt on. Love Captain America. And to celebrate this Independence Day, of course, I bring in a Canadian. Chris
I figured.
Chris Bumbray from Jobo.com and my homie. What's up, man?
I'm good, man. Happy 4th of July.
Yeah, I'm not
Always
really in the
remember
mood
it as
not
as
really in
the
the
day.
mood to celebrate, honestly,
I,
but
I I remember it
that
as
for
the
the
day that
political podcast.
I remember it as the day that Will Smith saved the planet from aliens. I
You know
mean, Will
what? That
Smith
is
and
why we
Jeff Goldblum.
celebrate it now too. We celebrate
Yeah.
in Will Smith saving us from aliens. That's really what
Will
we.
Smith and Jeff Goldblum went up into the fucking mothership, saved us from aliens. Randy Quaid sacrificed himself for us. It's a
And I don't
great
know if
day.
you knew this or not, but Tom Cruise was born on the 4th of July as well. So
In real life, he was born on the 3rd of July, actually. You know that? Yeah. Great movie, though. Oh my
it is a
God,
great
that's a
movie.
great movie.
All right, so we're here talking about Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. I had to have you on here to do this because you love the Beverly Hills Cop movies more than just about anybody that I know. I
Oh
like the
man.
first one. I'm not really two is okay. I think three is terrible. I don't even people don't even talk about the third one. That's how bad
I
it
don't
is.
even mind. I don't even mind the third one. It's like I was telling somebody. So my little backstory is I grew up watching these movies like
Yeah, me
over
too.
and over again. And the thing is, I tell people they're like my Star Wars movies in some ways, just because so I was invited to the junket in Los Angeles for Joe Blow to the premiere, which was
Right.
in Beverly Hills, across the street from the Beverly Hills police station. And I got to interview Eddie, I got to interview Judge, Ryan Holt, John Ashton, everybody. And as I said in my review, right off the top, it's very hard for me to be objective
All
about
right,
this
Chris,
movie,
I'm gonna
considering the
close the
experience.
window here. We got everything in the world going on outside. Keep
Oh,
talking.
no, but I mean, considering the experience that I had, I have to say it's hard for me to be completely objective. And I was curious to see what the reviews of this would be like, right? Like I was really hoping that people would like it as much as I did and wouldn't just be slamming it, and like because that would have been very embarrassing. But it does seem like most people are really actually enjoying it.
It's a fun movie. Now, before
It
we get
is.
too
It's not
far
a
into
masterpiece. It's
right,
just fun.
before we get too far into Beverly Hills Cop, we are also going to be talking about our some of our favorite movies of the year so far, since we are past the halfway point in 2024. I picked five. I didn't really give anybody a criteria, and we may be joined by my other good friend Karen Peterson if she decides to join us today. She's better than both of us. She probably
So
forgot.
aloof. So
Yeah, I
aloof.
know. She forgot about us. It was understandable.
Bigger fish to fry.
Exactly. She lives out there in Hollywood. There's probably other stuff going on. She might be in the middle of an earthquake or something. Who knows? Anyway, she might be joining us at some point during this show. But anyway, let's talk about Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. And I agree with you. I kind of went into this not expecting much. There have been a lot of these nostalgic revivals of late. Eddie Murphy's already done one with Coming to America. It's kind of like he's revisiting his old characters. I need him to do another 48 Hours movie now to like complete the
Oh,
circle.
with yeah, Nick's looking a little rough these days.
Yeah, he's been
See
looking
it.
rough for 20 years.
Might be hilarious though if they could do it. Like,
Yeah, I think they could find somebody else to play that role or something, and then have Nick play like a smaller bit in it or something. But I feel like he needs to revisit that world or something to kind of come.
I want to see Trading Places too with him and Dan Aykroyd and Jamie
Yes,
Lee
that
Curtis. The
too,
three of them could still totally do it.
that
They're
too,
all kind of in their prime in some ways.
that too. But these kinds of revivals have been kind of a mixed bag, and I didn't go into Beverly Hills Cop thinking it was going to be much. I mean, they've been wanting to make this movie for a long time. Remember when they were going to do that TV show?
Oh, that pilot actually with Brandon T. Jackson
Brandon
is
C. Jackson.
online and it's awful.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But then like I was somebody was it was I was interviewing Will Beal, the screenwriter, and he said he didn't read them, but he said that like they were gonna he was gonna go to London at one point. One of them was gonna take place during a hurricane. They were gonna kill off Billy. And he's like, nobody wants to see any of that shit. And he said that when he got hired by Bruckheimer, he said the one thing they told him is he's got to be back in Beverly Hills. He's got to be
Yeah,
Beverly Hills Cop. He's got to be back in Beverly Hills. And
exactly.
don't make it too dark. Don't start killing off beloved characters.
Right, and that was one of the things I was watching it with a friend, and we were like, well, what's going to happen to these characters like Billy and Taggart? And it's like, well, I mean, this movie first and foremost is clearly for the fans. Like
Oh,
the
yeah,
the opening scene basically tells you that as he's driving through Detroit to the sounds of what was that song playing?
heat
The
is
Heat is
on.
On.
Heat
The
is
Heat is
on.
On playing. Like it's telling you right from the start, this movie's for you. If you like Beverly Hills Cop and you love Axel Foley and Eddie Murphy in this role, this movie's for you.
Well, and then
Kind
they
of knew right from the
get
start,
right in
okay,
and
your
they get
favorite
right into
characters
shakedown.
probably aren't going to start getting murdered. They're probably not going to suddenly like turn corrupt. You
No.
kind of knew those things weren't going to happen, even if they might tease it along the way. You
Yeah,
kind of
I
knew.
knew that like Taggart was gonna be like still a hero, right? Like it was
Right.
kind of and like
Yeah.
people in the theater at the end when he like shows up guns blazing were like cheering, right? Like it's just that's what they want, right? I knew Rosewood was still alive.
Of
Like it was
course.
kind of there's no way he was dead. They would have showed him get killed, and it was but I'll tell you, man, in the theater, as soon as the Heat is on came on, I was like cheering. I was like, yeah. And then everybody started screaming. And then right away they went into Shakedown from Beverly Hills
Yep.
Cop 2, Bob
Yep. You're
Seger's.
busted.
Oh man. And the score is great with doing like Harold Faltermeyer-esque music, Lauren Balfe. But I like the characters. I liked Taylor Page as his daughter. Good to
Me
look
too.
at.
I really liked some of the conversations they had. For those who don't know, she plays as a strange daughter who is living in Beverly Hills as a criminal defense attorney, and the whole plot revolves around police corruption. Honestly, the plot is pretty basic.
I mean, it is
There's not a whole
totally
lot to it. But the
no.
plot is simple. You can kind of pick apart where it's going to go, everywhere it's going to go. But you're not really watching it for that anyway. You're watching it for Axel Foley, and getting a chance to revisit some of these characters. I was having a blast seeing guys like Judge Reinhold again. Because I can't remember the last time I've actually seen Judge Reinhold.
And
Uh,
then John Ashton as well. Like I
John
haven't seen him in
Ashton.
ages. And
John
then when I
Ashton.
interviewed them, they seemed so excited about being back, and they really like are hoping that it turns into a franchise and they do more of them because they totally could.
They totally could, and there's no reason for them not to. This one is I think is very successful. I mean, I was even happy to see Bronson Pinchot as Surge
Me too.
and
And I met him. I met him at the party. It was crazy. I was so excited because I grew up watching fucking Perfect
Perfect
Strangers,
Strangers. Yeah.
right? So I was super psyched to meet him. And he was really nice.
Now
Really,
here's
really.
the okay. So you were at the party. So here's the real question: did you meet Taylor Page?
She wasn't there.
And did
She
you
was the
take your
only
shot?
person. She wasn't there. I'm telling you, man, she's gorgeous, but she
I
wasn't
know she's
there.
gorgeous. You didn't. You
She
so you
was
didn't get a
she
chance to take
she
your shot.
wasn't there. Not only was she wasn't there, and she wasn't at the junket. I think she's shooting. Eddie Murphy's wife, though, very very attractive. And
So he stayed longer for this than he did the celebration of Black
oh,
cinema,
he was there the whole night. He was there the whole night.
where he did a
Right?
bit and then left.
They were dancing. They were having a great time. The DJ was really good. There was like Sean John or something like that rapping. Like it was pretty nuts. And then it was I'm I'm with your friend Tim Gordon. I was hanging out with him most of
I
the
don't know
night.
who
A
that
friend
is.
of
I
mine
have no
as well.
idea who you're
Yeah,
talking
a friend of
about.
mine as well. And we're hanging
Never
out,
heard
and
of
him
him.
and I having a chat, and we're talking to this nice older guy. And then I was like, "Hey, what a nice guy." After he leaves, and then Tim was like, "You have no idea who that is?" And I'm like, "No, no." And he's like, "That's Jimmy Jam, right? Like the famous
Jimmy Jams
producer."
and Terry Lewis, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I knew who he was. And then
yeah.
for some reason,
Did you
Tim
like
kept
chase after him and tap him on the shoulders like, I know who you are?
for some reason, Tim kept trying to convince me that this guy that we were talking to was Snoop Dogg the whole night. He was like, "Oh, well, that was Snoop Dogg. You didn't recognize Snoop Dogg?" And it was clearly not Snoop Dogg. The guy didn't even look like Snoop Dogg, vaguely. And he kept telling people that I thought he was Snoop Dogg. And it was not true because the guy, he was making me think like he was a famous person. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I know you," like trying to just be polite, and he was like, "Oh, he thought he was Snoop Dogg. Yeah, man, Chris thought he was Snoop Dogg. Yeah, yeah. Crazy." You telling everybody the whole night, "Oh yeah, I know. He thought this guy was Snoop Dogg." I know what Snoop Dogg looks like. I would have smoked a
That's
blunt with him
hilarious.
if it was Snoop Dogg.
That's funny. No, but
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed this. I was surprised that, I mean, it's got an R rating, but I think they really used the R rating to its benefit. Like a lot of vulgarity, a lot of F bombs from Eddie, which is the Eddie we want to see.
what you want.
the
He
role.
even does the
The
laugh.
violence
Even
was surprisingly good. Like I love that opening. There's an opening chase sequence involving Detroit that starts with at a Detroit Red Wings game and then goes all throughout the city. It's probably the biggest sequence in the movie, honestly, and it's pretty good. It's pretty entertaining, but there's decent action throughout.
I like some of the lines are pretty funny though. Like when they're getting in the chopper, it's like this isn't Spirit Airlines. It's
Right.
good. I like though. So here's a funny Eddie Murphy story. So when I interviewed him, he was so I was allowed to watch these movies when I was very young. My parents were pretty permissive, right? Do you watch The Bear by
Yeah.
chance?
Yep.
So there was an episode where Marcus was giving his eulogy for his mom, and he was like, "She let me watch RoboCop when I was like 7." And I was like, "Yeah, I was thinking about like my parents too," and that's always one of the things that I've been so fond of with them. And when I interviewed Eddie Murphy, I was like, I've been watching you since I was a kid. And he's like, well, how old were you when you saw the first Beverly Hills Cop? And I was like, I was about 7. And he's like, 7. And he was thinking about it. He goes, well, it's a pretty tame movie. He's like, he says, get the fuck out of here is the worst that he says is a bit of shooting. He goes, oh, but there were strippers. And he's like, you saw the titties when you were 7? And I was like, yeah, I did. And he goes, oh, and he does like a whole routine if you watch the video where he's like, I like this movie, I like Beverly Hills Cop. And he's like, you didn't watch the movie for me. You didn't give a shit about me. You like the strippers. My mom was she saw the video and she's like, oh, now everybody's going to know I let you watch. I'm going to seem like such a terrible mother because I let you watch Beverly Hills Cop when you were 7. And I was like, no,
Yeah,
it makes you.
I had no restrictions as a
Me
kid
neither.
on things I could watch. My parents didn't give a shit about anything. So
My
my
parents, I
parents
would
never
watch
my
what they
parents
wanted
never
to watch.
my parents never oversaw anything I watched. I mean, I saw Revenge of the Nerds way too young. I
Oh,
mean, there's a lot of things I watched that was way too young for.
questionable.
My
I
parents
saw
didn't.
Videodrome when I was like 9 and it messed me up really badly. They
I
didn't
was
know, but I
making
wasn't not allowed.
I was making hair pie jokes, when I was and
Back off, Big Mama. I want to see some of
like
that mouth.
oversight in my house. So I mean, I was watching these movies too when I was way too young for them. So it is
I mean, my parents often though I would watch what they wanted to watch, which were usually R-rated movies. So that's for me. Like Carlito's Way and
right.
Blood In, Blood Out.
Right. Yeah. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in this movie too. He plays a detective and a former pilot and an ex of Taylor Page's
Yeah,
character.
he's kind of her love interest in the movie a bit. Yeah.
What'd you think about him? Because he's the one
Like
character that I was kind of like, eh.
I liked him, but in some ways, I actually felt they gave him too much to do. Like it would have been
I
like
didn't think they gave him enough.
I almost thought that was unnecessary. Like I think that maybe they should have cast a less well-known guy in that part. Like I think they were trying to pull in the younger viewers, and I get it because he's kind of her love interest in the film.
It felt like a Chris Messina role.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you could have put Chris Messina in it and have him do a little less, and then like because the body count. I wanted to see Axel shoot guys. I didn't want to see Joseph Gordon-Levitt shoot guys. I wanted to see Axel take them out, or
Yeah.
Billy. Because the one thing about
But
those
it
movies,
felt like they were trying to establish him as Axel's partner for future movies.
oh, 100%. Well, and they were really doing the Bad Boys Ride or Die thing, where like
Which
they're
which
establishing.
Will Beal co-wrote.
Yeah, and he even said so. They're establishing these characters to potentially keep the franchise going, right? Like Bad Boys Ride or Die, they're 100% planning to do something involving the Ammo Squad and Smith's son in it, like 100%. And Reggie, they're totally building him up as well,
They're gonna
right?
have to
Like
wait
it's
because Vanessa Hudgens just had a kid like yesterday or something. So
man,
they have to wait. I
the
know,
only
I know.
problem,
We can
problem
sit
is that
we're gonna sit here and go off on a tangent about how disappointed
she
we
didn't
are.
have
We're
the
not
kid
gonna do
with
that.
me is the only problem.
Right, exactly. The kid's not with you, so you don't care.
Like, I just love those movies. Everybody's always talking about how hot she is.
We don't want
Yeah.
this to devolve into one of those shows where we just start
But
talking
that
about.
happened last time we were talking about Bad Boys.
I know,
We just started going
I
off like
know.
how hot Vanessa Hudgens is. It's going on again. Yeah. Oh man, she's hot.
Yeah, yeah. These shows tend to devolve into us just like sitting around talking about chicks. So let's not do that.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. Almost every episode.
Anyway. No, but look, if they are going to continue this as a franchise, I'd actually be really happy about it because like I said, these revivals have been happening a lot lately, and they don't all work. But I feel like Eddie Murphy is so natural for this role. It's like he never left it. It's
And
like they never stopped making him. He's so good at it. And I think Axel ends this movie in a very different place than he starts it at.
yeah, I know. That's
Like
the
his
one.
character's
I feel
actually
like he's
grown,
gonna
which is
move to
good.
Beverly Hills now. He's gonna live there.
Probably.
Like I think they could open the movie. It'd be funny if they opened the next one and him and like Rosewood are roommates or something like that. He's living in that same apartment with like
I
all
think
the
that's
rap.
like a bit too
Here.
sitcom-y.
Yeah.
It's
But
a
I love the fact that one of the things I always liked about two was that I always loved that Rosewood and Taggart and the Captain Bogomil, they started this like bromance with Axel Foley. I always loved that after the first movie, they stayed really good friends. They went like fishing together and stuff. And apparently Reinhold was telling a story that him and Eddie Murphy go duck hunting every year. Like they've all kind of stayed friends, right? And I think that that comes across on the screen, right? Where they actually have legitimate affection for each other, you
This is
know?
such a Beverly Hills Cop is such a big movie and such a big franchise for almost every actor that was in it. For some of them,
Oh, everybody, yeah.
it's the best thing they ever did in their careers, and the only thing they'll probably be remembered for in most of their careers. And so it has been like game changing for all of them. Even for Eddie Murphy, it's a big role for him too. So it's
Oh,
good that
he
they've all
told
stayed
me in
together, and
my
it feels that way though, because it feels that way in this movie. You feel something for Billy, you feel something for Taggart when you see these characters again. Um, you
he
know,
told me in my interview, Eddie Murphy, he said that at that time there had never been a movie with a black lead that went international what that movie did, where it was a huge hit all over the world. He said there had been movies that had been hits in the States with a black lead, but he said that this was legitimately like a worldwide phenomenon.
yeah,
And he said he had no idea going in that that was going to happen. And,
yeah,
and it was massive phenomenon, massive.
yeah. Really, really great. I really enjoyed Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. It is streaming now on Netflix. You should go and check it out. I don't think you'll be
It's just
disappointed.
such a great character for him too, though. And and it's like I was telling Beale this as well, the writer. Like the thing that I like about Axel Foley is that he's like a hero. He's a true hero. It's the same thing. I think that's the reason why, the bad boys have been able to come back and Maverick were able to come back, is that you don't have to make these characters dark and complicated. They're heroes. They're legitimate heroes that are always going to do the right thing. And there's something very, in the times that we live in, which are very unsure, it's nice sometimes
They're,
to see
they're
a
heroes,
hero character.
they're heroes, but they're ordinary heroes, right? Like
Yeah, but they'll do the
have their
right thing.
they all have their issues. Axel is selfish. He's been
Yeah.
selfish for 4 movies. He's going to be selfish.
Ego maniacal as well,
Yeah,
but he'll
egomaniacal,
always
but
do the right thing.
they all ultimately do the right thing. They're egomaniacal, but always on the side of good.
Mhm.
And they're very easily relatable. So yeah, I agree with you. I can't wait to see what they do if they do more, and I think they will. I think
I
Netflix
think
is
so too.
very
I think
happy
it
with this.
does. If it does well, I think they'll for sure do more. And
Yeah,
I'm sure it's going to do well. I would be shocked if it didn't, to be honest.
I agree. So we
Yeah.
are into July and we are past the halfway point in 2024. And so I wanted to talk with you about some of your favorite movies that you've seen this year so far. And I was going through my letterboxd and I realized that I've only rated, I think, 8 movies 4 stars or more.
Yeah.
And Punch Drunk Critics, we do best of 5. And I've only rated 8 movies with more than a 4. So this was a very easy list for me to come up with. But I only picked 5. I picked a few. At least I didn't put any restrictions on you. I was just going to kind of let you just talk about the movies
Yeah.
that
So
you
I actually
liked
made
so
a
far this
list.
year. And you just did
I actually,
a post for Joe Blow about this. I know this is pretty easy for you too.
yeah. So what are yours? What are yours?
So I'll just give you my 5, and these are in no particular order, right?
Mhm.
So I had The Bike Riders on my list. Movie I really, really enjoyed from Jeff Nichols, fairly recent, still in theaters now. Um, and a movie that I went into with very little interest. I think you and
That's
I
on my
talked.
list as well.
Yeah,
That's on my list.
you and I talked about The Bike Riders on this show a couple weeks ago, and I went into it just kind of like I really don't care about this whole
Yeah.
period. I don't care about motorcycles. I don't care about I don't care about biker gangs. I don't care about any of it. But it really surprised me with how big it felt for such a small movie.
Yeah.
That I really enjoyed it. I got Viggo Mortensen's The Dead Don't Hurt.
It's on my list too. It's on my list
Shit,
as
man,
well.
it's like you and I have the same goddamn brain.
Yeah, yeah.
God damn it.
It's a good
My
movie
new
though.
friends who
Really good
think
movie.
differently than me. It's just I think it's the best Western of the year. No
Yeah.
respect to Kevin Costner, but it's just I love that scene from a different perspective because we're talking about immigrants coming to the country during the Civil War. It's just I think it's brilliant.
You know, Vicky Krieps plays a Quebecois in that movie.
I love Vicky Creeps. Don't even,
Yeah.
let's not start. Let's not start. I love Vicky Creeps. I got Dune Part Two.
It's
Uh,
on my list as well.
God damn it. It's gonna be really short. We all got the same role, same movies.
Yeah.
Dune Part Two. I feel like I don't need to say anything. I feel like these are like the new Star Wars movies. Like these are
Yeah.
event sci-fi films for me. And I hate Dune. I hate Dune the books. The books are shit as far as I'm concerned.
I've never been able to get through any of the
The
books at
books are
all.
horrible. The original movie is terrible. It's a joke. But Denis has done something special with these films. They're just great. The Beekeeper is on my list. Is it
It's on
on
my
yours too?
yeah.
That's on yours too. We got the same list.
Yeah, it's on mine as well. I did
It's
10,
okay.
but yeah, The Beekeeper is on my list. It's the best action movie of the year. It's
By
great.
far. By
Yeah.
far. Go
Yeah.
ahead, keep talking. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Beekeeper,
It
yeah,
was,
it is the best action movie of the year by far. It's just
that was the one movie I have to say, like, I did not expect anything from it because I'm not a huge Jason Statham fan, to be honest.
which is
And
funny because you guys have the same head.
I know, but I find the thing about him, dude, is that he'll never take like a hit in movies and stuff like that. But this was different. I think David Ayer is a great director. I think
Love David
Dave,
Ayer.
David Ayer just like knew exactly how to make this movie, right?
Oh
Like
my God. Yeah.
I'm gonna make the perfect fucking B movie. Like it's gonna be the perfect version of what this story is gonna be. It's gonna look good, it's gonna move, it's gonna have really good action. Like to me, that's like when you get like an elevated director who just really knows what he's doing, that's like the perfect version of the Beekeeper.
Agreed.
I don't think there's a way to have made that movie any better than him, to be honest.
It's such a crowd pleaser too. It's one of those movies that
Oh my God, yeah.
has you.
Sure.
I mean, people were literally cheering in the theaters at both screenings of
Yeah,
The Beekeeper that I
mine
went
too.
to.
Mine too. In
It's just because he's
Montreal.
going after people that you hate in real life. So it's just like it's just perfect. Uh,
It has really good villains because yeah, it's the people that like literally the worst people that you could possibly imagine, and everybody's corrupt, and this one guy doesn't give a fuck. He's gonna kill all of them. They're all just
exactly.
gonna
It's beautiful.
yeah.
And the last
Terrible.
one, which might be where we finally diverge. The last one for me was Love Lies Bleeding.
No, that wasn't on my list. I like that movie, but it's not on my list.
Okay, I love that movie. Kristen Stewart, Katie O'Brien, uh, pulpy crime movie, lots of violence. I really enjoyed that one. Maxine is fairly close. I did like Maxine a lot, which I just saw this
I
week.
was cooler on Maxine than some others.
Inside Out too, I liked a lot as well. There's some movies
One that would be on my list and it hasn't come out yet is Long Legs.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I mean, I had other movies. The other movie that I had on there that were in my that I had given 4 stars this year were Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, The Promised Land with Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, I love The Promised
Yeah,
Land.
me too. And Exhibiting Forgiveness with Andre Holland that we saw at Sundance, which is amazing. But it's not out yet, so I didn't really put it on my list.
All right, so I'm going to throw in a couple others then, a few
Okay,
others.
yeah, let's hear something where we actually
Yeah.
have a difference of opinion, maybe.
One of them is definitely Furiosa Mad Max Saga.
I like that one a lot too. And that was high on my list as well.
I went to see that twice and I just found it actually was even better the second time. And I feel
agree.
bad.
I saw it
Yeah.
twice as well. I felt the same way.
Yeah, I appreciated it even more, and I feel bad that it didn't do as well as people thought it would. Civil War. I know you were cooler on Civil War, but I loved
I
Civil
like
War.
Civil War a lot as well. And The
Yeah,
Fall Guy was another movie that I liked a lot too. There's
I don't
movies
have
that I
the
liked a lot that just didn't quite make my top
I
five.
don't have the Fall Guy on my list, but I do have another movie that I know you liked, In the Land of Saints and Sinners,
Oh
which
yeah,
is the one really good Liam Neeson action movie that we've gotten in the last few years.
really is. It's the best.
But it's not him that makes the movie great. Like he's good in it, but it for me it was really Jack Gleason. Like I thought Jack Gleason was incredible in it. Like people aren't talking enough about how good he was in that movie.
It's because not enough people saw that movie.
No, nobody saw it. Nobody saw it.
Yeah, nobody saw
It just opened and closed and I get it because I mean I didn't want to watch it. That was the thing. I really didn't. I thought like it was just gonna be
that screener sat in my inbox for a while.
I had it for months. I just thought it was going to be another shitty Liam Neeson movie. The only reason I watched it was because I was going to interview Jack Gleason. I was like, okay, I guess I'll watch it. And I really thought it was gonna be one of those movies where I'd watch like 20 minutes of it and then, okay, I've seen enough to do my interview. And I wasn't even going to bother reviewing it. But I was sucked in and I loved it. I thought it was great.
Totally with you.
Other one that I think is a little overpraised, but I still really liked it is Hitman, the Richard Linklater movie.
I like that one a lot too. Yeah.
Yeah. Late Night with the Devil.
I hated that movie with the passion.
Really? I thought it was pretty good. I
Okay.
considering especially how low
I was so
budgeted.
bored. I was so bored during that screening. Jesus Christ.
And
But
then honestly, Bad Boys Ride or Die. I had a blast with Bad Boys Ride or Die from beginning to end. Just had it for pure entertainment. It was just like beautifully shot, tight, well acted. You know, they did a little bit more to it than just action, but the action was good. It was that for me, that was like a really like as far as summer blockbusters go, I liked it a lot more than The Fall Guy. Like
they
it was
really
just,
have found the perfect duo to direct those movies now. Like
I know, they really are
those
great.
guys are really good at what they do. Of course, they did that Batgirl movie that didn't get made or didn't get released.
I wonder though how
Episodes
bad it
of Miss
actually
Marvel.
is though, because I feel like it can't be that bad if those guys are directing it. It has to at least be decent.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like when that movie eventually gets leaked and we see it, it's not going to be that bad.
No, I think it'll be surprisingly good. That's the thing. And people will be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Anything else on your list?
No, that was it. That was it. But I mean, there are other good movies that I saw this
Lots of
year.
good movies. Lots of good
But
movies.
you know, I'll be curious to see how it. I'll be curious if any of these actually end up on my top 10 at the end of the year, though, because you know how jam-packed the fall season always is,
Yeah.
right? Like there are a few, like I'm thinking Furiosa will probably be in there. I'm thinking the Bike Riders will probably be in there, but hard to say because you know the fall season is going to be completely insane
It's
as it always.
tough. There's a lot of good movies that have come out that we haven't talked about now. Like Challengers was a movie that I liked a lot.
Challengers was good, was really good, and it
Challengers
was
was really good. Yeah.
really well shot, and you know it looked good on IMAX. I saw it on IMAX screen, which I thought was, and I thought that was a surprisingly really good place to see that movie because he shoots movies so beautifully, you know, in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Challengers is a really good movie. I actually want to watch that one again because I've only seen it the one time. I want to see it a second time, see how I feel
The
about
year of Zendaya, though, man, I'm telling you,
it. Yeah. Zendaya is nice.
yeah, we're gonna go into a hot Zendaya podcast.
I kept it as
Did you
short
hear about
as
how
possible.
Euphoria season 3 they sent it back to the drawing board because Levinson wanted to pivot to make it like a private eye show with Zendaya as like a private investigator. They were
That
gonna make
sounds,
that character a PI.
that sounds awful.
Yeah, yeah.
It
He's like
sounds like a
finally gonna make his Michael
ridiculous,
Mann movie. Yeah.
ridiculous idea. Well, Tom Holland, you lucky bastard. Anyway, that's basically it. Karen never showed up, so I'm gonna mock her for a while after this show is over. And that is our episode of Cinema Royale. We talked about Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, which both Chris and I highly recommend. And we gave a list of some of our favorite movies of 2024 so far. We got a long way to go this year. There's a lot of big movies coming out. We haven't even gotten to Deadpool Wolverine yet. So there's a
Well,
lot
you
of
know,
stuff.
I saw about a half hour of it at CinemaCon. But
CinemaCon.
that was but they showed us like it was non-spoiler, and apparently
I
the
just got the
Junketeers.
I just got the apologetic text from our good friend Karen. It's
Oh.
okay. Next
So
time.
apparently the people that are doing the junket for Deadpool and Wolverine pretty much saw the same footage that I saw. They didn't actually see they're only showing 40 minutes in the movie.
Yeah. You guys doing
Yeah.
any interviews for that over at Joe Blow?
Got nothing. Not since Disney changed promo about people. I'm not getting much these days from Disney. So it's what a lot of people are saying the same thing though.
Yeah.
You know,
Very
yeah,
curious to see if they do anything what Marvel does at Comic-Con, but you and I could talk about that. Maybe we'll do a pre-Comic-Con show or something.
sure.
Talk about some of our expectations.
I'm wondering if they're going to bring Alien Romulus, to be honest.
That would be very nice. I still think we're going to see a heavy presence of Paramount and Transformers G.I. Joe, possibly.
I think they
I'd
might show,
love to get some G.I. Joe casting news for Christ's sake.
I think they're probably going to show Transformers 1 because apparently it's really good. People really liking
I
it.
agree with you there. I think there's probably going to be a screening of that somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
I still think that looks trash.
It's weird. I watched, so they showed us about 20 minutes of it at CinemaCon, and it's really like Tango and Cash with
It's just
Optimus Prime and
as a
Megatron.
Transformers purist who knows the Transformers history inside and out, it kind of ruffles my feathers, that
I don't
movie.
like that because it really is like Tango and Cash with like Optimus Prime and Megatron. Brian
Okay.
Tyree Henry's
Yeah.
Megatron and
Optimus
Chris
Prime, Megatron, buddy
Prime.
comedy is not my thing.
Yeah, they're like bros in it.
Right. Just gonna have to do a lot to win me over. Let's put it that way. Anyway,
Yeah.
uh,
They're
well,
like high-fiving and shit.
yeah, no, God. All right, guys, this has been Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hobson. You can find me every day at punchdrunkcritics.com. You live in the DC area, you can see me on WETA Around Town and on Fridays on 7 News DC at noon. Chris Bumbray is the top guy over at JoeBlow.com and my best homie in this biz. Thank you for coming on, my friend. I
A
appreciate
pleasure.
you being here.
Anytime, dude.
I will see you soon at Comic-Con, but I'll probably talk to you before that.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. See you guys later. See you next time. Bye. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.